Rocky didn't play by the rules. It sucker punched them. Budgets vanished, producers panicked, Stallone bled. A lot. The studio wanted a Hollywood drama. What they got? A street fight. These are 20 wild facts you didn't know about Rocky. And the bonus at the end? It's heartbreakingly real. Step into the ring, things are about to get bloody. Fact number 1, the first day nearly killed the movie. On the first day of filming, everything collapsed. Not just the schedule, the actor. The studio had cast a real boxer to play Apollo Creed. Big name, big arms, big mistake. He looked the part, everyone believed in him. Then the cameras rolled, his hands shook on the first jab. His voice cracked during the stare down. By take 3, he could barely stay standing. They thought it was powerful acting, a brilliant, gritty performance. It wasn't. It was alcohol withdrawal. Severe, uncontrolled, dangerous. He was pulled. Quietly. Quickly. Stallone had a bruise on his cheek and a crisis on his hands. But the director didn't flinch. He made one call to someone he trusted. Carl Weathers. No meetings, no casting calls, just a punchy read and a cocky grin. "Can you fly out tonight?" the producer asked. Weathers didn't ask for the script, didn't ask who Stallone was. He just said, "Sure, as long as I knock him out." He landed in Philly jet-lagged and ready. He didn't even unpack. But when the cameras rolled, he was Apollo Creed. No one questioned it again. Fact number 2, Stallone bet the house. Literally. Here's something that doesn't happen anymore. A broke actor writes a script and refuses to sell it unless he gets the lead role. That was Sylvester Stallone in 1975, living with his dog in a tiny apartment, rejecting studio after studio who wanted to buy the story without him. One offer? Over $300,000. He said no, because Rocky wasn't just a character, it was his shot, his real one. He eventually took a deal for just $35,000 and filmed with only $106 in his bank account. The iconic jacket? Borrowed. The training scenes? Shot guerrilla style. No extras, no permits, just grit. And the dog in the film? That's his dog, Butkus. The same dog he sold to afford groceries. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, he bought Butkus back for $15,000 once the film was greenlit. That's not a subplot. That's real life. In a movie about comebacks, Stallone gave his own story the best ending possible. He didn't just get the role, he got his best friend back too. Fact number 3, the running scene was a total freestyle. That iconic scene, Rocky jogging through Philadelphia while kids cheer behind him, it wasn't planned. There were no permits, no extras, no blocked off streets. Stallone just laced up his sneakers, handed a camera guy some film, and ran. The people in the background? Real locals. The kids chasing him? Just actual kids playing outside who decided to join. That shot where a fruit vendor tosses him an orange? Pure luck. It was all improv, all heart. And yet, somehow, that ragtag moment became one of the most unforgettable images in movie history. A guy with no money, no prep, and no crew accidentally captured the American dream on film. Fact number 4, the meat locker scene was 100% real. Yep, that's not a soundstage. That's not prop meat. Stallone really punched slabs of frozen beef in a real Philadelphia meat locker, bare-knuckled, over and over in 20-degree cold. By the end of the shoot, his knuckles were bleeding, his wrists were swollen, and his forearms looked like he'd boxed a brick wall. He did it because the movie couldn't afford stunt meat or stunt gloves. And you know what? The scene looked so raw, it inspired actual boxers. Word spread through the fight world, and soon real-life trainers started using frozen meat as training drills. From guerrilla filmmaking to influencing pro boxing. Not bad for a guy who had to borrow bus fare. Hang on to your hat. This next part blew my mind. Fact number 5, Stallone's face was already half paralyzed. That famous crooked snarl, the heavy eyelid, the way he slurs some words, it wasn't acting. Stallone was born with partial facial paralysis due to complications during childbirth. Forceps damaged a nerve. That's why he talks the way he does. The studio thought it was a liability. Audiences thought it was authenticity. And Stallone? He turned what others saw as a weakness into a signature. That's not a performance, it's survival, written on a man's face. Fact number 6, the first fight scene left him in the hospital. During filming, Carl Weathers accidentally broke Stallone's ribs. You can actually see the moment. He winces, but keeps going. Later, Stallone asked for a slow-mo shot to look more brutal. So Weathers hit him, for real, right in the chest. Stallone went into shock and couldn't breathe. They rushed him to the hospital. One night in intensive care, and he was back on set. That's not acting. That's Rocky bleeding into Stallone. Fact number 7. The budget was so low, Stallone used his family as extras. Look closely during the final fight. The timekeeper? Stallone's dad. The street singer? His brother. Even his wife helped out. They couldn't afford extras, so the crew doubled as background actors. The arena seats, mostly empty. Smoke and tight shots hit it. Hollywood illusion, built on borrowed favors. And somehow, impressed, it worked. The underdog spirit wasn't just on screen. It was behind the camera, too. Fact number 8. The iconic score was written in one night. Composer Bill Conti had 24 hours of piano and almost no budget. But from that pressure came gold. He wrote Gonna Fly Now in a single sleepless session. That brass, those rising strings. It didn't just play under the montage, it became the montage. Now it's played at races, gyms, and graduations. All from a tune that barely made it to the tape on time. Fact number 9. The famous stair scene was almost a disaster. That legendary run up the Philly steps, total improvisation. The cameraman chased Stallone using a prototype Steadicam, one of the first ever. The lens fogged up, the batteries died, he even tripped, twice, but they kept rolling. Somehow, that shaky, heart-pounding footage became iconic. Proof that with enough grit and hustle, even technical failure can look like cinematic glory. And just when you thought Rocky took his last hit. Fact number 10. Burgess Meredith wasn't the first choice for Mickey. Originally, the role of Mickey was offered to a bigger name. He turned it down. Too small, he said. So Stallone called Burgess Meredith. At the time, he was best known as the Penguin from the Batman series. But once he growled on camera, the movie changed. He gave Rocky a heart and turned a side character into a legend. Fact number 11. The turtles in Rocky's apartment were Stallone's pets. Cuff and Link weren't props. They were Stallone's real turtles. He bought them before he was famous. That scene where Rocky feeds them, completely unscripted. Just a guy talking to his pets. And here's the kicker. As of a few years ago, those turtles were still alive, outliving the budget, the sequels, and maybe a few studio execs too. Fact number 12. The final fight was choreographed like a ballet. Every jab, duck, and block in the final match, scripted. Stallone mapped the fight across 30 pages, like a dance. He and Carl Weathers rehearsed for weeks. Even the exhaustion was planned. The result wasn't a brawl, it was poetry in motion. Sweat, timing, and rhythm, like a symphony, with black eyes. But this next one might be the most ridiculous thing we've said all day.
Fact number 13. The studio didn't want the ending we got. Producers wanted Rocky to win.
Audiences want a champ, they said. But Stallone fought back. Because Rocky wasn't about victory, it was about lasting. So he kept the ending. Rocky loses but earns respect. He proves he's more than a bum. And when Adrian runs into the ring yelling his name, that moment was the win. Fact number 14. The first cut nearly ruined the film. The first edit of Rocky was a disaster. Bad pacing, rough sound. The whole thing felt flat. Then editor Richard Halsey stepped in. He trimmed it, shaped it, gave it rhythm, turned a low-budget brawler into a legend. He didn't just edit the film, he rescued it. And yes, he won an Oscar for it. Fact number 15. Stallone kept the robe and hated it. That oversized gold and black robe Rocky wears, Stallone thought it looked ridiculous, too baggy, too shiny. But wardrobe had no other option, so he wore it, and even joked about it in the film. Ironically, that goofy robe is now in the Smithsonian, wrinkles, shine, and all. Fact number 16. The Oscar night was pure underdog magic. Stallone arrived at the 1977 Oscars in a rented tux. Nobody expected him to win. Then Rocky took Best Picture, against Taxi Driver, against all the President's Men. The room erupted. Stallone didn't cry, but his face said everything. That night, the underdog didn't just go the distance, he won the whole thing. Hold on to your gloves, this one belongs in a boxing hall of fame. Fact number 17, the poster scene was a mistake that they kept. Remember that giant poster of Rocky in red trunks? He was actually wearing white ones. It was a painting error. Too late, too expensive to fix. So Stallone improvised the line in the film, "I'm wearing white pants with a red stripe." A real mistake that became a perfect character moment. Rocky didn't care about branding, he just showed up to fight. Fact number 18, they had to reuse extras in the final fight. They couldn't afford a full arena crowd, so they filmed the same 30 extras from different angles, changed shirts, moved seats, added smoke. If you look closely, you'll spot the same guy clapping 3 times, but it worked. The illusion held, just like Rocky, scrappy, clever, and full of heart. Fact number 19, the crew had no faith in the movie. At first, even the crew didn't believe in Rocky. Some called it the Italian snore. Others placed bets on how fast it'd flop. But something changed, slowly, quietly. By the final week, the jokes stopped. The whispers turned to respect, and nobody was betting against the underdog anymore.
Number 20. Stallone's dog almost got cut from the movie. Butkus, Stallone's real dog, almost got cut. The studio said he looked too mean. Stallone threatened to walk. No Butkus, no Rocky, and he meant it. During filming, the dog kept staring at the camera. Why? Because Stallone hid meatballs in his pocket. They left it in. Because sometimes the weirdest moments are the most human. And now, if you thought the fight scenes were brutal, wait till you hear this. Bonus fact, Rocky's original name was The Cut Man. Stallone first titled the script The Cut Man. It was about a background character, but the story shifted. The spotlight moved to a quiet, beat-up fighter who wouldn't quit. He renamed it Rocky, inspired by Rocky Marciano. That name gave the film a pulse. And let's be honest, The Cut Man doesn't sound like something you'd run up museum steps to. So, if you loved getting behind the madness, hit like, smash subscribe, and tell us in the comments what fact made you laugh, gasp, or rewind. Because in a world of copycats, only one film ever looked Hollywood in the eye and punched its way into history.